consider surroundings?
Yes.
And do you need to know whether you could shoot another police officer or another person?
Yes.
And on April 11th of 2021, the Brooklyn Center Police Department had standard issued ammunition.
Yes.
And that was, what kind of ammunition did you use?
I don't know specifically which one.
Was it hollow point?
Yes.
And when you could Officer Potter, in using a firearm, have shot you?
Possible.
Could
Improper again, he's leading.
And the objection is sustained.
how is that? May I?
Okay. Counsel, I'm going to let you rephrase that question.
When you heard this loud pop, which side of the car were you standing on?
Passenger.
And which side of the car was Officer Potter on?
Driver.
And where in relation to the two of you was Mr. Wright?
In between.
And when you heard the loud pop, where were you in relation to Mr. Wright? How far from him?
6 inches to a foot.
And where was the female passenger at the time of the pop?
Right to my left.
And where was Officer Lucky?
I don't know.
And at the time of the loud pop, you could not see Officer Potter, correct?
No.
And in part because you were looking, well, why is that?
I was kind of looking down towards the center console, and Mr. Wright was in between us.
And you don't know, well, let me ask you this. You did not take out your, well, did you take out your gun and shoot Mr. Wright?
No.
Did you take out your taser and taser Mr. Wright?
No.
You indicated that you could have been dragged. Were you dragged by the car?
No.
And in fact, did you just stand up as the car pulled away?
Yes.
The entire time of the interaction with Mr. Wright, where were your feet?
Either against the curb or against the street.
You were asked if based on your position in the car, you indicated you could have been dragged, correct?
Yes.
And you indicated that you wanted to keep him from fleeing.
Yes.
And why did you then grab the shift knob of the car when you first reached into the car?
To keep it in park.
And to prevent it from moving.
Yes.
And when you had your hand on the shift knob, did the car move?
No.
When you had your hand on Mr. Wright, when you had both your left and your right hands on Mr. Wright's right arm, did the car move?
No.
After Officer Potter used her taser, did the car move?
After the taser?
Correct. I'm sorry. After she said taser and used her gun, did the car move?
Yes.
Just want to clarify a couple of things. You were asked if you were disoriented from the struggle and the loud noise. You said loud noise. Why were you feeling disoriented at that time?
Inside the vehicle with such a loud noise kind of throws your balance off and confuses you a little bit.
Did it affect your ability to sort of do your job right at that
After
moment?
I was leaving and moved the question straight.
Well, I'll let you finish the question first. What is your question?
Did that affect your ability to do your job at that moment in time?
The objection is overruled. I'll let you answer.
Not specifically to do my job.
Were you disoriented at all from the struggle, as counsel asked you?
No.
You were asked, you thought the car took off like a jet. Was jet your word?
No.
Would you ever describe it as taking off like a jet?
No.
Did Mr. Wright ever strike you?
No.
Did the passenger ever strike you?
No.
Did Mr. Wright ever grab a hold of you?
No.
Did Mr. Wright try to grab a hold of the shift knob?
Yes.
Were you able to prevent that?
Yes.
Mr. Earl Gray, Mr. Gray, a name like
Right, Mr. Earl.
with a name like Matt Frank, I should not make that mistake.
No.
Mr. Gray asked you if you were lying over the female. At any time, was it necessary to hold yourself up by leaning on her?
To hold myself up,
Right.
I was just kind of balancing against her.
Were you standing on the ground at that point?
Yes.
What was the point of
I was levitating.
leaning against her?
So that she wouldn't be involved in what was going on.
Based on your training and experience all these years as a police officer, are you trained about entering cars of people who might flee?
No.
You don't receive training on that.
No.
Was it a good idea to enter a car that's fleeing?
Not if it's driving away.
Okay. So, in entering the car, are you taking some risks?
Yes.
And by grabbing the shift knob, did you alleviate that risk?
Yes.
You indicated earlier about a weapons warrant. Is it always good to be concerned about the potential of a weapon when you make a traffic stop?
Yes.
And so that makes you, I guess, extra aware to the presence of a weapon. Would that be fair?
Yes.
At any time during your interaction with Mr. Wright, did you see a weapon?
No.
Did you see him reach for a weapon?
No.
In the years that you've been working as a police officer, have you had to draw your taser?
Yes.
Have you ever drawn your handgun instead of...
Outside the cross-examination, I never mentioned anything.
The objection is sustained beyond the scope.
Does it exceed expectations to draw a gun and shoot somebody to death instead of their taser?
Same objection, Your Honor.
The objection is sustained.
Your Honor, may I have a sidebar with the court?
Yes.
Perfect timing. Cheers, hooligans. I'm awake now. So are we doing any better? The bit rate seems to be good and I have no notifications of dropped frames. Yeah, son. YouTube's turning me into a lush. Something. It's been a stressful day today already. No, that was not Jaeger. That was Kessler whiskey. It's gross, but it's affordable.
Okay, the objection is sustained. It's beyond the scope.
So when Miss Potter on this day, April 11th, told you that she had pulled the wrong gun and used her Glock instead of her taser, is that inconsistent with what you thought of her when you said she exceeded expectations before?
I don't know what she was thinking at that time.
And that's partly because you didn't see the incident from her perspective.
Correct.
So your opinion about, well, all right. In the years that you have worked with Miss Potter, and particularly over the last few years, have you come to like her?
Yes.
And you mentioned doing the carrying caskets. I think there's a better description for that. What is that?
I believe she was a lieutenant with the Law Enforcement Memorial Association.
And so what does she do for that?
They provide support for law enforcement funerals.
And you appreciate that she does that?
Yes.
And you like that she does that?
Yes.
Do you admire her?
Yes.
Did you consider her a good coworker?
Yes.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Further?
With respect to hollow point bullets, are they used by law enforcement because a hollow point bullet will stay inside of the person shot rather than go through the person and hit somebody else?
That is a ballistic characteristic, yes.
Yes, and that's why they're used.
Yes.
And a car can be considered a weapon, correct?
Yes.
If it takes off fast, fleeing somebody, and it hits somebody, that's a weapon, that car, correct?
Could be, yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Anything further from the state?
Yes, sure, I'll be brief. One thing that can hollow point bullets also affect the damage done to the person shot?
Yes.
And in training as a police officer, have you been trained about the dangers of shooting occupants of vehicles?
Good. Object outside the scope of my cross-examination.
The objection is overruled. You may answer.
I don't think we've ever had a specific training on that.
On shooting occupants of motor vehicles?
On shooting into a vehicle, yes.
And in fact, there's a policy about it. Is there a policy in Brooklyn Center about that?
Yes.
And is there also a policy about using a taser on people who are operating motor vehicles?
Judge, same objection. I didn't mention it at all.
All right. I'm going to let you answer.
Somebody that's operating a vehicle, yes.
And so the reason for that is what?
If they're moving, driving a vehicle, and you incapacitate them, it could cause an accident.
That's just what Mr. Gray was getting at, correct?
Yes.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Gray?
At the time that Daunte Wright was shot, was that vehicle moving?
No.
That's all I have.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
You may step down.
Well, they finally brought up whether or not the vehicle can be considered a weapon, but
Break for lunch.
faded quickly.
I'll check the weather in the meantime, okay?
What's up, Sassy Pickle? That's a good idea. I'll write that down, and we'll do that for the poll on the next live, because they're about to go to lunch anyways.
Okay, please be seated, counsel. I take it the state has seen the defense's objections to the exhibits.
What's up, Cypher?
Yes.
We did receive the email, yes.
Okay. I haven't had a chance to look at these photographs, but if they have already been shown in the past,
Your Honor, they have not, and I do have plans to get a flash drive for the court and counsel during our break.
okay, good. Thank you. We'll deal with that. I don't know if we're going to get to the medical examiner today or not, but we might as well try to take care of this, as soon as we can. Right.
Are we leaving early today, Judge?
I'm checking the weather, okay? Because I want to
Yeah, sure she
be
is.
safe. But and we're breaking for an hour. We'll start up again at 12:30. I may call you in earlier to talk about exhibits, okay?
1:30, Your Honor?
12:30? Oh, that's right. Excuse me. It'd be 1:30.
All right. So we're going to break for a little bit more than an hour, but we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. While I'm getting everything set up, please take a second to hit subscribe or follow on whichever platform you're currently watching right now. in order to be connected and to help my channel grow on that platform, to be able to bring in new viewers and see what's happening around us. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, you beautiful hooligans. We're going to go to break for lunch, which is an hour long. We'll be back. Hour and 3 minutes or so. I appreciate you guys jumping through the hoops with me. You know, it's been a bumpy couple days, but hopefully we got it figured out. Hopefully we'll be smooth streaming from here on out. Really appreciate all of you. Big shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership program, or purchased any merch. I appreciate you guys, and I would not be able to do this without you. So thank you so much for all your support, and I'll see you guys in about an hour. I'll probably hop in the Discord during lunch, and I hope to see you guys there. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.